Hi and welcome back. It's Monday. It's the 7th of December and this is your property news live update. Hi, I'm Rick Gannon. Welcome back to my channel. So good morning folks, hope you are all really well. If you are new here to the channel, then please do click on that subscribe button and please do make sure that you're here for every show at 8:30 every day so you don't miss any of the future broadcasts. Now we have a few rules here. You've got to say hi, you've got to say where you're from, and we do a few shout outs. That's what we do. You know the score, you know how to do it now. So let's do the shout outs first of all today then, so we can get them out of the way. Michael, good morning from a frosty Devon. Yeah, it's actually really cloudy over here today as well. Good morning to Steve from South Devon as well. Are you two in the same room? Perhaps, maybe you are, I don't know. What are you up to this morning, folks? Please do make sure that you leave a comment and make sure you click on that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the future shows. So you've got to say hi, folks. So we'll do the shout outs as we go forwards. But what is in the news today? What's been happening? Well, apparently Scotland has enjoyed a mini boom in its property market since the beginning of lockdown. And according to UK-wide letting firm Apropos, average house prices in Scotland have risen by 6.8% between March and September, and that's according to the latest month of official data. And the prices have gone from £151,284 to £161,510. England had the next highest increase at 4.9%, followed by Wales at 1.9% and Northern Ireland at 1.6%. Now, David Alexander, who is the joint chief executive of the company, commented, "There is little doubt that the lockdown built up considerable demand in the property market while also providing an opportunity for people to reflect on what they wanted from their home. Everyone was spending so much time in their properties that it made them appreciate what they enjoyed and what they disliked about where they lived." He says that the demands of working from home, coupled with a growing need for open space, has led to many individuals seeking to change their home as quickly as possible. This has caused an increase in demand over a relatively short period of time, and it's only set to continue. Although the increase in the threshold for land and buildings transactions will have played some part in these increases. Prices were rising before this was introduced in July, and given the time delay in sales coming through, it's likely to have only benefited sales from the late summer onwards. Now, according to Alexander, the prices reflect the greater importance people are placing on their homes. Supply is as high as demand, with a marked increase in the number of properties available for sale over the last 6 months. In Edinburgh, for example, the number of properties for sale in November is 49% higher than the same month in 2019. Interesting times. Good luck for you, Scotland. Let's hope it continues. So what's everybody doing today? Where is everybody? So please do give yourselves a shout out and click on that share button, folks, if you find these news feeds interesting and worthy. Mandy, good morning from Manchester. Julie, good morning from Hemel. Good morning to Mandy. You've clicked share. Thank you. Julie, you've clicked share as well. Michelle, thank you from a foggy Wandsworth watching on YouTube. Good morning, Mario from London. Good morning, Mark from Halifax, and Magdalena watching from Milton Keynes. Good morning, Joanne from Stratford upon Avon, and Kim watching from Teignmouth. And Joanne, you've clicked on the share button as well. Thank you, folks. Please do click on that share button. Let's get this news feed out today. It's always a quiet one on a Monday. I think everybody's still in weekend mode. Next on today's list, the government has launched an unexpected consultation which may indirectly highlight a new opportunity for landlords and other investors, and that is converting retail units to residential. The Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government is consulting on whether a shake-up of the general permitted development order could see Class E be allowed to change of use to residential. Class E in itself is new and currently covers a broad range of use, including retail, cafes and restaurants, financial and professional services, indoor sport and recreation, medical or health services to visiting members of the public, creche, day nurseries and day centres, offices, research and development and light industrial. If this change is to come, and if it's going to come into effect, it would significantly broaden the scope of the existing residential conversion rights, as it would not only apply to offices, light industrial and retail, but also to restaurants, gyms, medical facilities and creches. Now, the suggestion, and at this stage is not policy, is that this development right could apply everywhere except areas of outstanding natural beauty, the Broads and national parks, certain areas specific to the Wildlife and Countryside Act, and World Heritage Sites. And the usual exclusion for listed buildings and buildings of special scientific interests, scheduled monument, safety hazard areas, military explosive storage areas, and sites subject to an agricultural tenancy would continue to apply. Now, Nicola Gooch, who is a planning partner at Irwin Mitchell, says this is a radical proposal. This is not least because, despite the entire justification for it being related to high streets, the rights are not limited to high streets. They will in fact apply to every GP surgery, retail park, business park, gym, creche, nursery or light industrial estate in England that existed and was in use on September the 1st, 2020. She continues that there is a nod to preserving high streets in conservation areas, but it does seem to be just that, a nod. The intention is to include specific prior approval criteria, allowing councils to consider the impact of the loss of the ground floor use to residential in conservation areas. Relatively few elements of a conversion would require planning approval, and Gooch describes the paperwork required to go ahead with such a conversion, if the idea becomes policy, would be light. She adds that given the impact that COVID-19 and the associated restrictions have had on the economy, there will be a real temptation for commercial landlords to flip vacant units to residential units before looking at other more traditional commercial uses for them. Good news, surely it's going to be good news. Bad news for the high street, good news for the property investor. Just click on the like button, folks, if you think that's a good thing coming forwards. Bruno, good morning from South Wales. Good morning, Mohammed from Leicester. Good morning, Stuart from Westbury. And Paz, you're watching from Brighton. So what do you think about that, folks? If you can turn shops into residential units now as well. The high street is pretty much over now, isn't it? I did a YouTube video 2 months ago about the state of my hometown, and it was pretty depressing. We went out and we just recorded it on an iPhone, and there were like 40 or 50 closed shops, just completely shut down. So something needs to be done, and to be quite honest with you, the high street was in pretty bad order before COVID anyway. Next today, the Acorn group of rental activists has created a detailed crib sheet of responses to a council consultation on landlord licensing. Acorn, which operates in a number of cities and describes itself as a renters' union, has long been critical of landlords and letting agents and has held protests in some agencies' offices. Acorn's Oxford group has now put a local council consultation document online and gives specific wording that it wants respondents to provide to many of the questions. For example, the Acorn document shows question 8.2. What are your views on the council charging the standard fees for a 1-year selective licence for properties where concerns exist? It then recommends a reader to respond. I think the fees are at about the right level. There are also numerous explainers accompanying the recommended wording, suggesting that the respondents need to be told what it is that they are commenting on. It also goes on to coach respondents on what kind of information to give when answering the more free-form questions. For example, Acorn Oxford encourages you to add testimonials about any issues that you have faced while renting in Oxford, particularly relating to any hazards or problems with maintenance. If you don't have any detailed testimonials, we would still encourage you to add any general experiences relating to housing, opinions or suggestions, as the council can only officially take into account things that have been written via the consultation. It is also important that these submissions are a bit personalised, as they are anonymous, and should be clear that there are many of us responding and not just one person. Acorn pushing our hand, pushing the government's hand, almost telling us what to say now, etc. Are you investing in Oxford, folks? I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are with Acorn Group and whether they've had any issues in your particular area. Good morning from Mihaela from Bucharest. Good morning, Alex, watching from Worcester, and Dominic, watching from Winchester. Good morning, Phil, watching from the Wirral. Those are people saying hi this morning. Everyone's just woken up now. An analysis by a lettings management service has identified those parts of London with the strongest yields and capital growth in recent years. Now, London, according to my reports over the last couple of weeks, have been having a really hard time when it comes to renting. Most people are heading out towards, outside of the city now into more of the more rural locations in order to work from home and because of COVID. So it's really taken a hit. But let's have a look what this company have got to say. Hurdle, which has taken its data from Zoopla, says that the top 3 areas with the most attractive recent growth start with Woolwich, where thanks to regeneration and the promise of new transport links to come, the current average house price is $481,000, and that's up $272,000 from 5 years ago. That's a phenomenal increase. That's an increase of 77%. Next up is Brentford, which has seen a rise of around $135,000 since 2015. Then there's Bayswater in prime central London, which has defied the trend of falling values seen in much of the capital's central area. The average property in the W2 postcode costs 1.25 million, a slight increase from the 1.2 million price point of 5 years ago. Meanwhile, the platform says that the best yielding parts of London start with East Ham, currently offering highs of 4.81, with it significantly above the average in the area. Then comes Stratford, a rental hotspot 12 years on from its role in the Olympics. Currently, portfolio investors can expect to achieve yields of more than 4% in the E15 postcode. And finally, there is Popular, relatively close to Canary Wharf, so with an appeal to professionals, yields come in at just over 4%. In addition to postcode, a big part of maximising returns from residential property is asset management. It's not just the preserve of big institutions. With commercial property portfolios, it works just as well in residential investments too, because better buildings usually deliver better returns. So there you go, folks. There you have today's property news. Bit of a quiet one today. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm going to be back here tomorrow at 8:30 to see what's been going on over the last few days. And then, of course, we're going to be heading up towards Christmas time. I am going to be taking some time off over Christmas, would you believe? I'm going to unplug from the internet. I've been ordered to by my family. I have to unplug from the internet over Christmas and take some time out. I'm a big lover of all talking about and coaching people to take time out and clear clear your head and defrag the brain, making sure that you're recharged and you sharpen your axe. So I am going to do it myself over Christmas time as well. So we are breaking up on around about the 18th. I'm not quite sure yet when my last news feed is going to be, but I will be taking some time off with your permission, of course, folks, as my community. So that's it for today. Make sure that you have some fun and don't forget to click on that subscribe button and that follow button. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 8:30 for more of the same. Take care. I'm Rick Gannon. Welcome back to my channel.